Hi Cubies, here's Alexandra again, and today I welcome you to the second part of how to play Magic the Gathering. In the last episode we have talked about the different colors of Magic and about the first basic rules, how to play the game with sorceries, with creatures and with lands. And today we will talk about some different kind of stuff here about Magic. We are talking about permanents and abilities. So in Magic you have two basic kind of cards. Those are the spells and then the permanents. Spells are instants and sorceries. So in the last video I've shown you how to create them with your mana from your lands, and how to resolve them, and after they are resolved they go to the graveyard. A permanent is a little bit different. A permanent is, like the word suggested, a card that is permanently on the battlefield as long as it is not destroyed. So the first permanent obviously is a land card. Here we have a normal forest, that's a basic land. Then we have here two non-basic lands, the Creeping Tar Pit or the Contested War Zone. Those are also permanents that will stay permanently on the board. Also, creatures are permanents because they stay permanently on the board after they are casted. Other than lands, creatures, artifacts and enchantments start not as a permanent, they start in your hand as a sorcery or a spell. So, and the time you cast them as a spell, and only after the spell is resolved they appear on the battlefield as a permanent, and when they are on the battlefield then they are a permanent. So this is important because some cards refer to spells. For example, blue has a lot of cards that can interrupt spells. So don't get confused. There are actually, this here is actually in your hand a creature spell, and only on the battlefield it is a permanent. So also the same appears to artifacts. They start as a spell, and when they hit the battlefield they are a permanent. Artifacts can't be attacked like creatures. The creatures can attack and block and do damage. Artifacts are just like magic items that are in the possession of the planeswalker you are representing. The planeswalker is here in Magic a powerful spellcaster that is able to shift through the dimensions to other planes or planets. Here in Magic a planet is called a plane, and so the artifacts are in the possession of the planeswalker you represent. So an artifact has always some abilities, and there are still some different artifacts out there. So the first is the normal standard artifact. It's a permanent, stays on the board, and it has some abilities. That's it. Then we have the artifact equipment. You summon it, and then it stays on the battlefield like as a permanent on the board, but it does nothing until it is attached to a creature. So normally it says on an artifact equipment some sort of cost to equip this this artifact equipment to a creature. Let's say we have on the board here this core duelist, and then we summon this grappling hook. And after that is summoned, you pay actually 4 mana, and then you can attach it to the creature. And then this artifact will do its effect on the creature. For example, this here, the equipped creature has double strike. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may have target creature block it this turn if able. So this card actually allows this creature to choose which creature of the opponents is blocking him. Normally the opponent has the choice. So, and then there are also the artifact creatures. They are for targeting purposes, not in a color. They are colorless, they are an artifact, and they are affected by cards that target artifacts. So, for example, green and red have lots of spells that destroy target artifact, and they will affect an artifact creature as well. But on the other side, this artifact creature is also a creature, so it starts as a spell, comes on the battlefield as a permanent, a creature, and then it is simply behaves like every other creature on the board. So, the next permanent on the list is the enchantment. Like the artifact, we have several different kinds of enchantments. There is the general enchantment, where it says here, just enchantment. You play it, and it then stays on the board and have its effect on the whole battlefield. Not only your troops, also the other troops. If it's only affecting your troops, it definitely stands directly on the card. So the next version of an enchantment is the creature enchantment, or enchant creature. So like an artifact equipment, this is targeted not on the battlefield, it is actually targeted on a creature. So you have a creature out, and then you can target the enchant creature on the creature, and well, it is locked on this creature, and the effect of the enchantment is working directly on the creature. When the creature dies, the enchantment also goes with the creature together to the graveyard. There's the difference between the enchantments and the artifact equipments. If the equipment is equipped to a creature and the creature dies, the equipment stays on the battlefield, unequipped, and you can then, for the mana cost, re-equip it to any other creature. So exceptions are always called on the card. Rule number 1 in Magic is the card is always right. If a card is playing with the core rules of the game, then the card wins. That's the basic rule of Magic. So, after the enchantment about creatures, we have the next enchantment. This is enchant player or enchant library. Like enchant creature, this is an enchantment targeted directly to a player or a library or whatever. There's also an enchant land or enchant artifact. All kinds of crazy stuff with enchantments. But they are like the creatures, the artifacts, and the lands also a permanent, because they stay permanently on the board. And they can be destroyed by spells and abilities that are targeting permanence. So, enough of that, and we look now at the abilities. In Magic we have 3 kinds of abilities: the static ability, the triggered ability, and the activated ability. So, what is this? Well, I can clarify this. Let's start with the static ability. That is an ability that is on a card, on a permanent, that is always true. For example, we have the Drogskull Captain here. This is a creature, a permanent, and it says he has flying, is a 2/2 creature, mana costs, whatever. But other spirit creatures you control get +1/+1 and have hexproof. This sentence on its own says it all. Other spirit creatures you control get +1/+1 and it has hexproof. That's always true, as long as this permanent is on the battlefield and under your control. So, this is a static ability. It's always true. So, also here on the Core Duelist. As long as Core Duelist is equipped, it has double strike. So this is always true, but not always effective. So when we would lock the grappling hook to the Core Duelist, this ability would be activated and is from now on always true. Then we have the triggered ability. A triggered ability is an ability that is only activated at a certain moment in time. So, for example, we have here Cowardice. It's an enchantment, a permanent, and it says, whenever a creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, return that creature to its owner's hand. That's a triggered ability. It stays on the battlefield, and let's say we have here some creature or land or whatever that makes an ability onto something else. Let's say the lodestone golem would have the ability, if you tap the creature, it deals 1 damage to another creature. So if this ability would hit something, then the ability of the enchantment would be triggered, because it's a triggered ability. First you would resolve the damage, and then this triggered ability comes available and would exile this card, and this goes to the hand of the opponent. So that happens all the time here in Magic. We have several cards with triggered abilities, also cards like when casted this and this happens. There are, so for example, creatures, when you play this creature card, you gain life, or you draw a card. This is a triggered ability. The creature hits the board, and then the ability is triggered and you resolve it. That's a triggered ability. And then we have the activated abilities. Those are also on all kinds of permanents. For example, let's start with a basic triggered ability. This is a land. A land has the triggered ability, if you tap it, it generates mana. Also for the non-standard. Here we have a written example. Tap, add blue or black mana to your mana pool. This is an activated ability. You have to actively do something with a card, and then the ability is activated. Here we have also an activated ability for 1 colorless mana, 1 blue, 1 black. Until end of turn, Creeping Tar Pit becomes a 3/2 blue and black elemental creature and is unblockable. It's still a land. So this is also an activated ability. You can pay mana, draw it into this land, and create a creature out of it for 1 turn. And then you can simply attack with it, or block with it, whatever you want with this creature for 1 turn. And after that, it returns to a normal land. So also on the activated abilities, we have also 2 kinds of versions. There's the tapping version, where you can see this little tap symbol, and then there's this here, the abilities that only have mana costs and a double point. So the tapped abilities you can always cast on your own turn, in your own main phase of the game. The other abilities here, without a tapping symbol, can be activated at any time, also in the enemy, in the opponent's main phase, for example. This is important for this card, because you can actually activate it while the opponent is attacking with his creatures and use it as a blocker. So I hope this covers a little bit more about the permanents and the abilities, and you can now start to use your own cards to a full extent. Now you can play with artifacts, enchantments, all kinds of creatures and lands, and use their abilities to their full potential. Also, I have to mention the instant. I said in the last video, an instant would work like a sorcery. That's half true. A sorcery can only be played at your own turn, but an instant can, like the activated ability without a tapping symbol, can be played almost at every time. So this here, for example, destroy target blah 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 creature, you could, as an instant, kill an attacking creature, and it would be dead before it hits you. That's the ability of an instant. That's why it is called an instant. Instantly cast spell. So, I hope you liked this little video about Magic the Gathering, and we see us in the next video. Your Alexandra.